MDSC Advocacy Specialist, John Anton, embarked on a once-in-a-lifetime venture. The Haverhill, Massachusetts native left from Logan Airport bound for Washington, D.C., where he would live out a lifelong dream, advocating for disability policy at the highest level of government. John, who is also a member of the MDSC's Legislative Advocacy Task Force, has spent the last 7 weeks interning for Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers of Washington State, a rising star in national politics. Now in her second term, McMorris Rodgers is co-chair of the Congressional Down Syndrome Caucus. Her 5-year-old son, Cole, has Down syndrome. By making the rounds on Capitol Hill to push for passage of the Achieving a Better Life Experience Act, also known as the ABLE Act for short, John was working to improve disability policy throughout the country for his generation, Cole's generation, and generations to follow. John had an amazing, exciting time in D.C., as he detailed on his real-life blog, which you can see when you visit our website. We are very grateful to our national partner, the National Down Syndrome Society, and Sarah Weir for their encouragement and support of John while he lived in D.C. In fact, John had such a good time that he didn't want to leave. Still, we are thrilled to have him back in the Bay State and here at our Real Lives Conference as a true ambassador of what living one's real life with Down syndrome means. In fact, impressive as John's internship on our nation's capital was, it is just one more achievement in a long list of remarkable accomplishments in his 47 years. Here are just a few. For 4 years, John served as chairperson for the organization Massachusetts Advocates Standing Strong, acting as leader and spokesperson for over 2,000 self-advocates in the state. In the late 2000s, John was a tireless and passionate advocate for changing the name of what used to be known as the Massachusetts Department of Mental Retardation. John explained that the name was outdated and insensitive. On July 1, 2009, the name was officially changed to the Department of Developmental Services. Yay! Thanks, John. Over the years, John has testified at dozens of hearings before legislative bodies at the State House and in the community, including providing necessary testimony for the MDSC's priority bill, the National Background Check. And that's only a partial list. It is hard to imagine anyone in the state in the last decade having as much impact as disability policy as John. Last year, he was featured in a 4-page Time magazine spread about new advances in prenatal Down syndrome testing, and was quoted in an accompanying Time magazine blog. "I know I have very little limitations," John told Time. "I am capable of making my own choices." He was also featured on an episode of TV news magazine show Chronicle about how the lives of people with Down syndrome have advanced in recent decades. Let's watch some of that segment now.
In many ways, 46-year-old John Anton lives a very normal life. An advocacy specialist at the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress, known as MDSC, Anton also interns at the State House and lives in an apartment on his own.
I love to say this all the time, but I'm a workaholic. When I come home from work, I need to unwind and relax. But I'm always still in my suit and tie, I'm in front of the computer, and I'm still working away.
Anton has Down syndrome. Thanks to early intervention and mainstreaming in the public schools, people with Down syndrome are living fuller lives than ever before. But back in 1965, when John was born, his mother didn't even know what Down syndrome was.
We went to the library and checked out as much as we could find. I read things that told me that a child with Down syndrome would probably not live past 17 or 18 years. I read that a child with Down syndrome would never throw a ball. And John's got gold medals for softball throws, so that was wrong. A lot of the general thinking, whether it was said in words or not, was the ideal situation was to perhaps institutionalize them.
Fortunately, the Antons met one doctor who suggested the family keep John at home for as long as they could, and they did. Jen was a pioneer, knocking on the door of the local Montessori school, asking them to let John into their program. By the time he was ready for first grade, the Massachusetts special education law had been passed, and John entered the Haverhill public school system.
It seemed a little segregated. I was, first of all, devalued. People made fun of me. And people used to call me the word retard.
He really liked going to school. He in spite of some of the downsides, the teasing or the little, you know, the kinds of harassment and whatever that went on, he liked the socialization of it. I think a lot of his success has to do with the special education system in the city. I think they did a good job.
Upon graduation, John began working at fast food restaurants and supermarkets. But soon, he let his mother know he wanted more.
I said, this is not challenging enough for me here at food service. I said, I want to work with people with developmental disabilities. So the next step forward is make connections, go political, be at the State House where our voice counts.
Joe Bachman is John's service coordinator from the Department of Developmental Services.
He just said to me, I just want a job where I can wear a suit and carry a briefcase. And I knew what he meant by that. John is volunteering at the State House in the office of Representative Santacandro. Right now he's working on something called the Real Lives Bill.
John's received multiple honors, the latest taking him to Washington, D.C. as the recipient of the National Down Syndrome Society Advocate of the Year Award. That fueled John's desire to take his political career a step further.
A job possibility and opportunity out in Washington, D.C. Moving out there, living out there, and knowing the expenses that I need to have and being trusted. I am going to go further and further and further. And I'm just saying to myself, if I keep moving forward, no one's going to stop me.
As we gather here today at our Real Lives Conference, it is incredibly fitting that John Anton be recognized with our highest honor. Not only is John the epitome of someone with Down syndrome living his real life, he even realized the importance of the Real Life spill early on. He even named his Buddy Walk team last year Team Get Real. I am honored to present John with this year's Alan C. Crocker Award of Excellence. There's no one more deserving. Please join me in welcoming John to the stage.
I hope you're all having fun today. I am honored to receive the Alan C. Crocker Award of Excellence. For many years, my passion has been the advocate and the voice for others with developmental and intellectual disabilities like Dr. Crocker. Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress has given me the opportunity to encouragement and support as I live and work and achieve my real life. Through the support of the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress and the National Down Syndrome Society, I was able to follow my dreams of living and interning at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. for the past several weeks in the office of Cathy McMorris Rodgers. I spend time reaching out to legislators and join the National Down Syndrome Caucus in educating them about important national policies such as the ABLE Act, achieving a better life experience which will be life-changing for many of us. I came home to Massachusetts to continue to work here in our states and neighborhoods. I've learned in D.C. the importance it is to keep fighting the good fight at home, and how important it is to listen to each other and work together to bring our ideas and concerns to everyone's attention. I look forward in using my new skills gained through my experience during my internship in the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress and giving back to those who so generously supported me. Thank you for the board and the staff of the Mass Down Syndrome Congress for the honor of this special award. But I also want to thank Dr. Crocker for believing in the gifts that we have to offer and the opportunity to earn money and be included as an equal member of society. And thank you very much.
He's a superstar. What an advocate. Great job, John. Great job.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So excited for you. Thank you, John. We are so excited. I can't think of anyone who exemplifies more what Dr. Alan Crocker stood for. Alan Crocker, our good friend who passed away in 2011, would have at once marveled at John's accomplishments and been unsurprised by them. Dr. Crocker realized the superb potential of people with disabilities if the naysayers would just get out of the way. During his time in D.C., the MDSC was honored to provide John with support as our very first Dr. Alan Crocker self-advocate intern. The internship was established by the MDSC after Dr. Crocker's passing, and it is here to honor his steadfast support and commitment to advancing self-determination for individuals with Down syndrome. Today, each and every one of you have a chance to help provide funding for this new fund. On your tables, you'll see envelopes that will give you an opportunity to support other self-advocate interns just like John Anton. The funds will go directly to support self-advocates who will receive paid internships to do projects based on their interests and what they want to accomplish in their life. So thank you in advance for your support.